Hi everyone, it's Killshot from 999 Gaming, and this is The Walking Dead Season 11, Episode 5, live fan reactions and recap. We got a lot to talk about tonight. This was it's a very good episode. We'll get to the scoring just in a couple minutes. We did not announce the time, so we're gonna have some people who are just gonna kind of stumble in once they see we're going live, and that's okay. We thought we were gonna do it a little bit later, but this was good. I wanted to get together and talk about it a little bit sooner before all the previews and The Walking Dead, and there's a lot of different things going on. There's football going on. There's people watching the playback. There's people already watching next week's episode. So we're just going to analyze it, talk about it a little bit, and this had. I think this is kind of like three layers of society, all encapsulated into this episode, where you've got The Walking Dead and some of the struggle, and then you got kind of not quite dire straits, and that's Negan and Maggie sort of making their way through it. And then you've got the comfort of the Commonwealth. And I think we're going to see a little bit of flip-flopping with that. I think the writers did a good job where you think one group's safe and they're not, and you think another group's in a little bit more trouble, and they figure it out. It's set up really, really nicely. But as we get a few more people to start to jump in here, let's do what we always do. Let's start out with tonight's score. So as we get people to start to jump into stream, give me your score. I need to know from a 1 to a 10 what you thought of tonight's episode. So do you think it was really phenomenal? Do you think it had a little bit of opportunity? Or was it kind of just right? I see, Jules out of the gate here with 8.5. And we'll talk about individually what made it better for you or a little bit worse for you. I see Diana C coming at 8.5. Eric's going to give it a 9 out of 10. I'm going to save my score a little bit as we talk through it, because what I like to do is I like to see what people's initial score is, and then we kind of do this again to see if we can change. Trial by fire. There were some lessons learned tonight. Don't you like these episodes where you feel like there's a bigger meaning to it? Oh, wait a minute. Moonshot with an 8? Jason, is that the first time you haven't given it like a 6.5 all season long? So Julia says needed a little bit more. I'll tell you what I've liked about the season. I'm probably the opposite of Julia. Is I think I'm getting just enough of the story and the action. I like when Walking Dead actually takes the time to tell me the story and get me into the story. In the past with the Whispers, I thought they told us a little too much story, and then we got the action. But you guys remember, it was about a year and a half ago when I said that it would be cool if Alpha got away, or if the Whispers were always lurking. Remember all the streams we did? I said the Whispers got to be out there somewhere. They got to be out there somewhere. So I felt like tonight, seeing Keith and a few of the Whispers, that maybe we were going to get that. So they sort of teased it, and then you realize, like, nope, we're not. They're a watered down version of whatever Whispers were left. So yeah, that kind of that story got told and untold all in one shot. So let me do this. I've seen some of the scores. What was either the most, and it can be frustrating, like sometimes things that frustrate you can be good. What was it that either surprised you the most about tonight, or that you enjoyed most about tonight? So those of you that scored at 8, 9, 8.5, what was it that you really enjoyed? And I'll call on a few people and we'll get some thoughts. And if some of our regular group, they'll watch the playback, but we had about a 2-hour gaming stream earlier today, so it's understandable that we didn't announce this in advance. So Northside Queen, hello Northside Queen. The Whisperer saying he saw Connie. Northside Queen, I thought there was a lot of tying up loose ends tonight, and there were 3 or 4 things that we just needed to circle back with. That was definitely one of them. The group actually finally finding out that Connie's out there somewhere, so I enjoyed that too. Trial by Fire and the Negan and Maggie intermix. Negan and Maggie, I think we had to get to a point where somebody's going to be in charge and somebody's going to follow. And yes, so a little bit of closure to the exchange between Negan and Maggie. I think it's done. I think if they even slightly bring the tension back, I think it's overplayed. So I think we've seen enough of it at this point that it's established. So yeah, 3 stories at once. I agree with that too, Moon. Valar interaction with Negan and Maggie. Petey Wheatstraw in the house. What's up, Petey? Been a little while. Really enjoyed the Negan-Maggie tension and the way they both responded to each other. Body language of the opening parties was brilliant. So I'm going to ask again, and I'm going to give it a 9.2. And that's a very high score for me. I don't want to just give it a 9. It wasn't perfect. There were some things that I think the writing was very good, but there were some things that I would have liked personally to get out of it, which is why I guess it's my score. But I didn't think it was the 7 and 8 range. Not a perfect episode, but better than good. So I'm going to give it a 9.2. I'll walk through some of the things that I liked that really kind of gave it that. I guess the Judith thing was probably why I didn't give it higher, because they reminded me again that kids are cruel, and it was kind of like Gage 2.0, Gage and Lydia with Judith. So I felt like there could be a setup with that, but it was a little bit of filler type of episode where, hey, we know that Herschel and Gracie and RJ and Judith are close, and Rosita kind of comes over there. Like, I think in the old days, Rosita probably would have, went after that kid and put him in a headlock or something. But that to me was what kept it down a little bit, because we've already seen that play out and we know it happens. But that and one other thing. Who's on guard? Right? Why is it Jerry finding out there's a breach? Can we not have 2 people on guard in Alexandria watching the walkers break down the wall? So that bothered me too. I thought that was, it was a little too convenient that the walkers got through there and they were devouring somebody. So, I guess the person who was in charge is probably the person that was being eaten by the walkers in the middle of the road. You know what? We can make up our own storyline for it. So that guy was on watch and he fell asleep and the walkers got through and he got eaten. So there you go. I'll fill in the blanks. So what I would have rather seen is that guy on watch and doze off. Right? So then that would have kind of filled in the loose ends there. So what did you guys think? What did you guys think about Aaron's dream? Did you think Aaron's dream and the anger he took out with Gracie, did you think that was normal? That's normal for him to be traumatic and have these very vivid dreams, and then it basically kind of came true. Like, Aaron dreamed about the whispers and he saw a whisper. So I thought that was almost a little Fear the Walking Dead coincidental. But I mean, he saw the wolves, he saw the saviors, he saw the whispers. And I guess I'm also a little confused. The time frame to me is a little bit confusing. Because it seems like it's been a lot longer since that happened. And see, I guess that's the thing. I don't know that they're doing a great job of time. Did you guys feel like it's just been months and months and months since they were at Hilltop? And it seemed a little bit kind of fresh, I guess, so to speak. So yeah, I'm a little confused with the time frames there. You know, that's a good question. So I'm going to give you guys, you know what time it is, everybody? It is time for it's time for a Kills bold prediction. If you guys want a bold prediction, give me a 999 in chat right now. I'm going to go into my my Walking Dead mind because I think I was on to something here. And Eric Beach just reminded me that I might be on to something. Okay. So Eric Beach question is, wonder what the penalties Eugene and Princess are going to get. I think that ties in very, very well with why has Rick Grimes not been back to save his family? I think the two go hand in hand. There is no way that Rick would not give his life to go back and save his family. So there's got to be a dark side to the Commonwealth. Two things happen. Tommy said to Yumiko, as long as you follow the rules. Well, we also found out that Ezekiel, Princess, Eugene, they didn't follow the rules. So now the threat bar has to be raised. And I think that's going to... One thing The Walking Dead has done the last few weeks is they've tied up a lot of loose ends. It's the last season. They have to tie up the loose ends, right? Yumiko found her brother. The group's going to find Connie. Negan and Maggie are either going to work it out or she's going to kill him. Daryl and Carol. So I think Rick has been banished away from Pennsylvania, and he's way out at the other Commonwealth side in that Texas-Oklahoma range. And I think the spinoff is going to be Carol and Daryl trying to find Rick and Morgan and Dwight and that group. Okay? So Rick basically got a little crazy, tried to contact his family, pulled something along the lines of what hold on, I'm not done. I think Rick tried to pull something and got exiled. So I think there's going to be some connection between these two groups. Very much like what Eugene and that group just pulled, that there's going to be some preventative measures keeping them from having the conversation. And there's got to be a connection between these groups. And we know that Daryl is not going to die. That's the other thing, because there's a spinoff. So that's a little bit, I guess, of a buzzkill. But why else would Carol and Daryl just pack up and go off on their own? And then what happens to the rest of the group? So let me kind of throw this to you guys. Does the majority of the group get accepted and admitted to these societies, whether it's the East Coast, whether it's the Midwest, or is the clock ticking and they really are going to starve? And this is what I said with kind of like the 3 layers that are out there. You've got Alexandria. There is a conscious effort to make the story. The only storyline right now in Alexandria is there's no food. The other storyline with Maggie and Negan is whether or not the Reapers are going to be the reason why people in Alexandria die. And then the third part is whether or not we can trust the Commonwealth. Whether or not this spin-off group of CRM and the connection between these groups, they're all connected. And how many people die along the way? So do you guys see this as a happy ending where everybody's just surviving it? Or do you see it as there's going to be some long-term animosity? And then the third caveat to that is this Walking Dead movie going to have this CRM Commonwealth rivalry or battle, or where does Rick come into all of that? I think it's important that the Commonwealth is a society of 50,000 people. But I think that there's a very, very dark side to the Commonwealth. And I think Rick is on the outside of that, and potentially the movies are going to be perhaps Rick exposing but I mean, the ice cream in the community does look pretty good. But what are they hiding? Yeah, see, Colton, I do think there's a reunion in there somewhere. But these guys have been there for a long time. And I don't know, maybe you guys can correct me. Has there been any extensive answers? Because I can't I'm going to get away from the thumbnail. Let's get a different background. How about that? There we go. There we go. Okay. Yeah, let's get some action working. Has there been any definitive answers on the world beyond about A's and B's? I don't mean speculation. And I can't follow World Beyond. I'm sorry, guys. I can do fear. I will go down for the count with Walking Dead. But World Beyond, I can't do it. Okay, so then is it possible that the A's are the people that are accepted into A's and B's either way? One of the group are a little more docile, or they're a little bit more community people, and they are the Commonwealth people. And then the other group are these renegades or these fighters, and they are the ones that are with the CRM. Is it possible that these two are involved but connected but different? And maybe there's just some things that happened along the way. Here's why. It's more likely than not that Rick was first taken to Pennsylvania. And that's where they are. That's where the Commonwealth is right now. But you have this CRM group that's out in the Midwest. Dwight, Morgan, John Dory, the whole crew, they were out in Texas. So when they have these run-ins, they're having run-ins with the CRM. What we also know is that the CRM was as far as Washington, right? I think the first couple episodes of World Beyond that I did watch, there were references to the CRM in Washington. So you basically have 3 rings. So you've got the West Coast, which is Washington. You've got the Midwest, which is Texas, Oklahoma area. And you got the East Coast, which is Pennsylvania. So there's your 3 different groups, kind of like a triangle, right? You got upper left, upper right, and then you got Texas. So you got this triangle formed from these 3 rings. So that's why I agree, or that's why I think that there's a connection, and these groups are going to be at some point maybe at odds with each other. Maybe Rick just sees a part of it where they kill the dead, protect the living, but the big narrative is going to be, why has Rick not been able to go back and rescue his family? All right, let's get a few more thoughts in here. So, Eric, to me, the punishment for Eugene and company is going to shine a little bit of a light on the storyline with Michonne, the storyline with Rick. Okay, here's what else I know. When Michonne went looking for Rick, where did she go? See, this is where you gotta work out these different communities. Well, she went to an island. And she went to an island off the coast of Virginia. Now, the CRM that we know of, again, they're out around Texas. So it's not conceivable that Rick was on this boat and this boat was going to go south from Virginia to North Carolina to South Carolina to Georgia to Florida, around the coast to Louisiana to Texas. It's more conceivable that that group was taking them to Pennsylvania because that's why they were migrating there and getting in this community. So certainly it's a community of 50,000 people. So the CRM are either renegades that broke away from Commonwealth, or they're a division of the Commonwealth. In my opinion, all of this is connected. Now, where do these little groups come in? And why is everybody not accepted into it? Because there's a process. There's a process to getting in. You can't just accept every whisper or every savior or everybody, because otherwise you're not going to be serving ice cream on the sidewalk and have these trucks. I mean, you're not going to have these events and donuts and cake factories. You're going to have these people that want to come in and they want to wreck your stuff. They want to take over. So there has to be extreme loyalty in these societies in order to work out. You can understand why. We saw a bit of it tonight. Yet, see, Eric, that's what I think. I don't think Rick followed the rules. What do you guys think? Do you guys think if Rick went to the Commonwealth, do you guys think Rick followed the rules? You think he was out there eating freaking donuts? He probably went over to the radio. He was probably like the first person to go to the radio. Now, here's the other thing we know about Commonwealth. Do you guys remember all the initiation that they were doing there? See, I don't think Rick has amnesia. That was a real cute video, wasn't it? Hey, come join us. We're a society. I would think it's more likely that they built Rick's trust and then lied to him about Alexandria being overwhelmed or overrun. You see, if these guys can do tapes, it's not hard for them to jazz something up to get Rick's loyalty and say, dude, sorry, they didn't make it. I mean, he wouldn't need to go back and see it for himself. He would need to steal a helicopter and fly in. If it is given to him as that's the way it is, one thing about The Walking Dead, we always keep hope, right? Like Connie will never die. But certainly, if they build trust with Rick, it's not hard for him to, after he lost Carl, everything else he went through, it's not hard for them to go back and just sell him on the fact of your community is gone. They didn't make it. And then what happens? Well, he gradually becomes a different person. But much the way that Yumiko found her brother, it's likely that at some point, Rick's going to find out that Michonne is out there. So if Michonne is out there, now we've got the platform for a movie, especially if they lied to Rick Grimes about his family. And if they're that manipulative, now I've got a reason to watch the movie, because it could be Rick Grimes versus 50,000 commandos. And the cool thing is they got these guys geared like they're sci-fi Star Wars characters. So there's enough of them that you could basically have like Return of the Jedi. Chuck Norris meets Darth Vader. So I don't think that, well, I don't know. What's tricky is the Pope looks like this final villain that we're going to deal with. So here's what we have to do in 3 episodes, and then next year when it kicks back off. We have to find a way for Carol and Daryl to leave, because we know there's a spinoff. We've got to transition to the Walking Dead movie. We've got to kill the Pope or have the Pope kill somebody else. We got to figure out what we're going to do with Negan. Either Negan dies and his story's over, or where does Negan go? Does he go to Commonwealth? Does he meet up with Rick in the movie? Is he the one that saves Daryl and Maggie? Does he die trying to save them? All of the above. And then we got to figure out where we're going to starve Alexandria out, or whether they're going to be rescued. Or is the Commonwealth's deal that perhaps Eugene, Ezekiel, the princess, Yumiko, they get cast out to this CRM group as a trade-off for the Commonwealth to help the Alexandria community. So you don't have this people in cahoots with each other. That you bring in the A's or the B's and you split them up. Because in these barbaric societies, you don't want anarchy, you don't want them to overthrow. So it might be a little bit of kind of what Jenny was doing in Fear of the Walking Dead, where Jenny was splitting these groups up because it lessens their power. Like, hey, we'll give you a place to sleep, we'll give you some donuts, but you're not going to have your whole community in here because that's a threat to us. That's when, like people are in the prison courtyard trying to figure out how to break out of prison. So they have to have a certain set of ideals and a certain set of rules that has kept them safe at this point. It is, Colton, it is quite a matchup, but, I think Rick Grimes has learned to shoot. But, part of when I'm kind of doing these predictions or going through, you want to think of how much time you have left and where the show needs to be at a certain point. And the one given is, well, let me ask you guys this question. What logical reason is there for Daryl and Carol to leave everybody else behind? Ezekiel behind, Judith behind, Dog behind. What's the logical reason for Daryl and Carol to go out west? Now keep in mind, Commonwealth is north. So why are they going out west? Either everybody's dead or they owe it to Rick to go look for him, to let him know. So maybe they find out some of the inner workings of the Commonwealth. Maybe they find out that Rick is out there somewhere. So I think if they really, really want the platform and they really want us to watch the Daryl and Carol story, it has 100% has to involve the search for Rick Grimes. Would you guys agree with that statement? Otherwise, I don't know that they can pull it off. I don't know that I like Carol and Daryl that much to watch their show. I like them. I like them in conjunction with all the other characters. I don't know that I like them enough to see Ride with Daryl and Carol. And where's Negan? Where's Maggie? If Daryl and Carol are gone, where's Aaron? Now, I think Maggie, Herschel, Judith, Rosita, Coco, Gracie, I think all the kids end up at Commonwealth. Because at this point, what are we going to the movie theater to see Rick Grimes do? And I don't mean this in a bad way, because look, some of us will go pay to see Rick Grimes at first, right? You'll be like, oh, I don't care, it's just Rick. But we ain't going to pay to see Rick Grimes kill zombies like he did on The Walking Dead. We've seen it. And I'm going to ask you guys this in all seriousness. Take your love of Rick Grimes away just for a second. If The Walking Dead is going to become an action thriller, I don't know that we're just going to watch it to see a family reunion with RJ, Judith, and Michonne. Now, look, and I'm not trying to be mean. I just don't want to go to the theater and sit there, with a box of tissue, and Judith walks up with broken handprints and says, I saved these. I just don't see that roping in a big audience. But if we can get like their own little war going on, yeah, I could see me going to watch badass Rick Grimes trying to make things right and expose the Commonwealth. So for me, tonight's episode was a 9.2 because I really think that they are telling the story. They're giving us the answers we need. They're creating another villain. And they're also laying the framework for the spinoff and for the movie without giving us too much. A's and B's, to me, you're either accepted in this community or you're out there doing what we need you to do. And you know what? The CRM looks like that group that's out there looking for A's and B's, right? I mean, that's what they do. All right. You know what? We've had a good chat tonight. I'm looking forward to seeing where Heath is too. Love getting together talking about The Walking Dead to you guys. Somebody asked what happened to the reaction stream last week. It was just a super busy week, so there was just no way that I could get to stream. Certainly, I love doing the reactions with you guys. I would love to be doing the bold predictions. AMC brought down the bold predictions. I mean, we wanted to do them, but with so many people, such a big percentage of our audience watching the streams early, in fact, watching it right now, it's it's hard to surprise anybody and come up with something that we think is going to happen next week, and we got to go bigger picture what we think is going to happen in 2 weeks, in 3 weeks, in a month. And we'll continue to do that. And we'll try to, as I said, as we get closer and closer to mid-season finale, we want to get more than one stream a week. So hopefully I might have something Thursday afternoon. Maybe we can get together and talk about the episode. But we just do have to be conscious of spoilers. So I want to thank all of you guys. Remember, all of your thoughts, all of your ideas are in this. So even if I didn't get to your questions, certainly we'll go back, watch the playback, read them, and we'll address them in one of the future videos. Thanks so much for everything that you guys do. Do me a favor, hit this like button. And if you guys, we just hit our 7-year anniversary. So yesterday was 7 years on YouTube, from gaming to The Walking Dead. You name it, we've done it. Freestyle Fridays. So it's just kind of great to hit that milestone. If you guys want a little bit more 999 Gaming, hang out with us. Play a little bit of Play Dead Live. We'll have a portal up soon. We're going to do some competitions, some games, and we're always going to look for new shows or movies or events to talk about just to kind of keep our group together. Stay safe, everybody, and I will talk to you all tomorrow night for a little bit of Play Dead Live. Peace. I'm a hitman, pull out the hitman. I'm a hitman, pull out the I'm a hitman, pull out the hitman. I'm a hitman, pull out the hitman.